Alright, hey you guys, let me see if I'm going live in the right place over here. I just want to check out on my tablet over here. We're going to be, I'm going to show you how you can alter the Pressed Petals journal so that you can add some pages. So I'm going to hop over here, see if I can see my live stream, because I can't see your comments because my phone's up here. So hang on just one second. Hopefully, I just dropped my phone, so hopefully that won't be too terrible. Hopefully I didn't damage it too much. Alright, so this is the current annual catalog for 2019-2020, and what I'm working with is the Pressed Petals journal. So I'm going to show you where that is in the catalog. So it shows it in the catalog here, and this is the Pressed Petals suite. So in the catalog itself, it's on pages 72 and 73, and you can see like this is a picture of the journal opened up. This is a picture of one of the cover of the journal, like decorated, right? So it coordinates with the products in this suite. So the Pressed Petals journal itself is on page 170, and so I'm going to flip to there real quick and just show you. So if you're like me, you're seeing this and you're like, oh, that's a cute journal. That's like, I was thinking it was like 6 by 8 or something, but no. So here we have it on the Memories and More page, the Pressed Petals journal. Again, so this is a 12 by 12 album. This is a 6 by 8 album, so I just saw it sitting there and I just thought, oh, it looks like 6 by 8. I didn't even read the silly description. Really smart for me, right? So what you get actually is a little journal that is this size. So it's like, yeah, it's a little smaller than I imagined, just because I didn't read it, right? So it says that the sheets are, there's 24 sheets in here, 4 each of 6 designs, and the pages are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is, in the United States, that's a card front size, right? But really, with the binding, it's like 4 3/4 by 5 1/2. So I'll open that up and show that to you in just one second. I want to hop back just a couple of pages, because one of the other things that coordinates with this that I don't have is the Pressed Petals Specialty Designer Series paper, and so you're going to see these same color combinations and some of these same types of images in the designs that are on the pages. So the pages are pre-printed. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this. I got 2 of them just so that I could open one up with you. So if I can find my scissors, this is the Pressed Petals journal. Oh goodness, now my cat wants to yowl. Got one yowling downstairs, and the other one just noticed that I'm on a live stream, so she's probably going to walk over in the middle of everything. Alright, so you get it in this little plastic cover, and if you can see it in the catalog because they've done a really good job with like the lighting, but there's like a little embossed design in the front and back cover, and it's not like super thick chipboard. It's probably like, I don't even know what you would call this. It's just cover stock. It's not super thick. Okay, so inside you open it up and you can see, am I upside down? I'm probably upside down. Yep, I am. You can see the first page right here, and you can see this perforation, right? So that's about, I think, a 1/4 of an inch perforation right there. So from the perforation on over, it's 4 1/4, and then it's 5 1/2 tall, right? So one thing that I was thinking is like, oh, this could be a gratitude journal. Well, again, I didn't read the description, so I didn't read that it's like repeating designs. So we've got, I'm going to skip the first page, because if you're using this as a journal, the pages that are facing each other are really, they go together, right? So I would want to start, if I was using this for a journal, to use this page to page or layout to layout, I would want to start there. So I'm not really going to use that page if I did that. So because these designs are matching, so that would be 1 layout, 2 layouts, and I'm thinking of this in terms of days, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you can see where this is repeating now, 9, 10, 11 days, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, I know you can count, I just want you to see it, 19, 20, 21, 22, and then 23 if you wanted to use the layout, you know, as far as the days. So on the back they have something as well, but it's not like our Memories and More cards. The Memories and More cards will have like one side maybe that you could journal on, and another side that is a design that is coordinating with, you know, the side in the front. Because this is laid out as a journal, as like a book, it's not that way. So if you wanted to pull this page out and then, you know, scrapbook and then have this design, then you'd be pulling out the back of this other page in order to have it. Now there are 4 sets of these 6 designs in this book, right? But I'm thinking like that's 23 pages of journaling. That's kind of odd. I guess you could do like, what would that be? Like almost, I think it'd be 4 weeks. I was thinking like if you did like Monday through Saturday. So I'm like trying to figure out all these ways of you know, doing something with it, and I can't figure out like how to set it up in a way that would add more pages. I was thinking you could also, you know, take these pages and because they are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, like I said, in the U.S. that is a regular size sheet. Let me see if I can find a colored sheet so I can show you what I'm getting at here. 1 second. So this is the Purple Posy cardstock. I don't think it really coordinates with any of the colors in here, but what you could do is pull these out, and each one of these would be the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So you could just take and put on a regular sheet, you could just line this up with the corner of a letter size piece of cardstock, and you could have that up here, and then, you know, pull this out at the perforation. I don't want to pull mine out, so I'm just showing you. Line this one down with this corner, and then you just have like, you know, this layout where you've got these two, the 2 patterns that are facing each other. But then again, you know, like I said, as you go through, then you would have to sort of skip one page in order to get the opposite ones, because if you were doing like this layout, the back of this page you would have put down on the paper, right? So you'd have to skip that one and then go to this layout. And because it's an even number of designs, once you get to the final design again, if you just keep going, you're gonna keep getting the same layouts. So you would have to like skip a page and then get over to the different designs in order to have like the different ones going. So anyway, it was like kind of a pain in my butt, right? I was like, this is not what I want. So what I figured out was, I was like, oh wow, it'd be really great if we had like a punch that would work with this. And then I could add some pages to it. So I'm going to show you what I did, and then I'll show you how I did it. So what I did was I cut some, this is the vanilla thick cardstock, and I'll show you the punch that I used in just a minute. And it creates this kind of hole where you can just slide it past the rings, right? So I have 4 sheets right here, 4 pages in the front, and then because I like to make it even, I want to put 4 pages at the end. So I've put 3 pages in already at the end, and probably I should have put them here instead of, because you can see this hook here, that's what kind of keeps everything from, I don't want to pull those too hard because I'll take them out, but anyway, then you can just take and because of the punch, you're going to have extra punched parts, but I'll show you in a minute how you could kind of account for that. But if you put these in here with the punch that I used, even though you could tear them out, they stay pretty well. And so that's why I use the thick, because I didn't want it to tear, right? So I have 4 pages in front and 4 pages in back. So instead of having 24 sheets in here, I've got 32, so you could use this for a whole month now, right? So when I open it up, the number of layouts that we have has increased to, I think it's 31. I think if you add up the number of pages that you've got in there, which is 32, then you just subtract 1, because you have like this first page facing page and then this last facing page that don't really have another side to their layout. So I think that gives you 31 pages. So if you wanted to use this in a month that has 31 days, then you're totally cool with that, right? So let me show you how I did this. This just took, I believe it was 4 sheets of the vanilla thick cardstock. It would have taken fewer sheets, except, like I said, 4.5 by 5, or 4.25 rather by 5.5 is the size of a sheet, but I needed to cut it 4.75 by 5.5, so I can't get 4 pieces that size out of a letter size sheet. So what I did was I cut, this is what the sheet would look like, and again, let me grab my different colors so you're not looking at white on white. So I took an 8.5 by 11 of the thick vanilla cardstock and cut it in half. Let me show you here. I'll put these back so you can see what I'm talking about. So I would have cut it in half this way, right? So that's 5.5 by 8.5, and then I actually stacked these on my trimmer, and then I cut this to 4.75, so it's 4.75 by 5.5, and then you have this extra that you can do whatever you want with, okay? So the other thing that I did was I realized that this would line up with a hole punch that I already have. So what I did first was I took a sheet of paper, and I don't know if I still have that sheet of paper laying around here. I tossed it probably across the room. But I took an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and there it is over there, sorry. It got buried. So what I had done was I took this paper and I stuck it in my punch. So this is a punch, hopefully you can see this well enough. So it's for ARC notebooks, this is the punch that I have. So those are disc bound notebooks. So let me move these things out of the way for just a second. And what I had done was I was just like, oh, I just wonder where this is going to line up. I think you can get this same type of punch for, I think the brand is Levenger and maybe 365. I can't remember if that's the brand name, but they're disc bound notebooks, right? So what I did was I stuck a piece of paper in there and I just punched it, and obviously that spacing is too large, but I held it up and it did line up. Like, it would line up and then skip to, and then line up and skip to. So I was like, well, shoot, I'm going to see if I can figure out the spacing for that. And it turned out that if I just lined my punch up, this is going to be really hard to see, but you see like the little mushroom top? If you just bring the little metal part on this punch, I don't know how the other punches line up. So this, like I said, this is the arc punch. If you want to try and duplicate this, you probably want the arc punch. But the rectangular kind of, you know, block there, if I just cover up the little tiniest bit of that little mushroom punch to the other side of it, and I'm going to turn this to me so I can kind of see what I'm doing, and then I'll turn it back. So hopefully you can see like where that's lined up. I'm not sure if that's showing very well, but it's just a little bit to the side of that little mushroom top, and I've got it pressed up against the back of the punch, and then I punched it again, right? So I've got that set of holes, and then really all you need to do is line up this rectangle in between the punches where there's space, and just kind of line it up in the middle of the little mushroom tops. You can sort of see it. Let's see if I can rotate this around so you can see that. And then you're going to punch it again, right? And then it's going to give you the holes that are going to line up with each one of these, okay? So it's going to line up in every little space. So what I'm going to do now is just show you the, oops, my tablet popped right out of my live. So what I'm going to do is take these are the 4.75 by 5.5 sheets, and I just want to show you how these fit in here. So this one's already got the pages in it, so I'll show you in this one that I didn't put the pages in yet. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and punch this again. It's kind of awkward, but if I put it down and just start it right where the little there's a little kind of, I don't know what you call that, little foot. I just went ahead and did that one. I'm going to sort of have this facing me so that I can see it better and line it up better, hopefully. Okay, so that is what it looks like when it's punched, right? And then you can just put these in here. And like I said, I have 4 of these 4 3/4 by 5.5 pieces at the beginning of the book, and then 4 at the end, and that makes for a total of 32 pages, which is going to give you at least 31 entries. So that's how I did that. If you really are not liking this, you know, seeing these extra little pieces, you could always get the, I meant to get it, but I haven't purchased it yet. It's on my wish list. But the suite that this coordinates with, the Pressed Petals suite, has this designer series paper that I showed you a minute ago. Let's go ahead and go back to that page. It's page 167 in the catalog. And you can see, like I said, the designs and the colors are coordinating. So what you could do, and this is actually a specialty designer series paper, so instead of getting just 12 sheets like you might in a regular designer series paper that's 2 each of 6 double-sided designs, this one is 4 each of 6 double-sided designs, and it's more of a lightweight paper. We used to have one that was like a newsprint type of paper, so you can do a lot more kind of papery, paper folds, paper, that type of thing. It's more lightweight, so that's why you get twice as many sheets. So you could trim a piece that's like, I don't even know what that measurement would be. It looks like it would be about 1, 2, 3/8. So you could do a little piece of trim that's like 3/8 by 4 3/4 there and there. And then you'd want to do it on the other side, of course. But it would actually go to the end and it would cover that piece. So let me just go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to take this this one that I already have cut. Oops, sorry about that. I'm knocking everything around. And just cut like 3/8 of an inch off. So that would be my 1/2 inch, so that would be 2/8, and that would be 3/8. So if I use the cutting blade, like one should if they're trying to cut, then you can see, and again, it would have been better if I had used a kind of contrasting color of paper, but you can see then you could line this up with the corner there, and then it would just be covering the, I didn't cut it quite long enough, it looks like, but it would be, then it would be covering where the holes are, right? So that's something else that you could do if you don't like the fact that the holes are there. I don't care, but like I said, I'm planning on purchasing the designer series paper, so that's probably what I'll end up doing. And then the other thing is that, like, if you did want to go ahead and pull these cards out and tear them at the perforation, then you would have like the little notebook left, and then you could still use the notebook with its spirals if you have one of those arc punches, and you can just punch that cardstock and use that for however many different designs you want, rather than having the same ones repeating every 6 sheets. So that's how I altered that. Thanks you guys for joining me. If you have any questions about that, if I was unclear about any of that, then let me know, and you can, like I said, you can even leave a comment, or you can message me on my page, and I'll give you a hand with any of that. So I will see you guys. I'm going to put this up on a blog post today, so hopefully if you're not tuned into the Facebook page, then you can have this referenced so that you can find it at a later date. So thanks for joining me, and happy stamping!